Hello everyone, it's time for me to give my college football week 2 review. This week, once again, I'm going to go not game by game, especially in the top 25, but just some of the key moments that happened during the course of the week. First, I'm going to start with the Georgia-South Carolina game. It was a very entertaining game. Georgia looked very good on offense. Aaron Murray looked great, a lot better than they did the previous week when they lost. On the other side, South Carolina, their offense actually looked really good, and that's what's plagued them the past couple of years. That's a good sign for them. The problem was their defense. They had no answers for Georgia. Todd Gurley, Aaron Murray looked fantastic. It was a good game on both sides of the ball, kind of for Georgia, although they did have some problems stopping South Carolina, especially in the first half. Second half, they really locked it down. The main thing to come out of this game, though, is the Jadeveon Clowney kind of incident going on. While he did record a sack, he is kind of frustrated, as he told. He basically is saying that he wants to be more involved. He wants to be used differently because if you watch the game, the offensive lines are really double teaming him on the outside, and he doesn't really have a chance to get to the quarterback as much as he'd like to. So what he wants them to do is give him different looks, kind of change it up a bit. And I kind of agree with him, actually. I mean, a player of that skill, people are going to double and triple team you. You got to confuse the defense. Let him get open because if he runs free, you're done. He's getting a sack or he's blowing up your running back in the backfield. The next thing I want to talk about is just real quickly is Louisville. They continue to be dominant on offense. Teddy Bridgewater being the quarterback of that team, it makes them just a very dangerous team coming into BCS bowl play. Their schedule's really weak. Look for them to make a BCS game this year. I don't know if national championship is in order just because their strength of schedule might not let them be in the top 2. But whenever you got a quarterback that good, Bridgewater's been fantastic. He could be the #1 pick next year in the NFL draft. If that, with a player like that, you're able to dominate games, and I think that's what they're going to do the rest of the year, especially on offense. Next, I want to talk about LSU. While they did play kind of a cupcake, the one thing to notice in the first 2 games is their offense. The past, 3, 4, 5 years, they've really struggled on offense. Even a couple years ago when they named the national championship game, their offense really struggled. That's when they had Jordan Jefferson. But now, their offense looks very good, and a lot of people are giving credit to Cam Cameron, their new offensive coordinator. Remember, he was actually offensive coordinator for the Ravens before they fired him last year, and then they won the Super Bowl after he left, which is kind of funny. But they looked very, very good. LSU, everyone thought it would kind of be a down year for them. It looks like they're going to give Alabama a run for their money in the SEC West, and they might be at least the second best team. I think their defense is a lot better than Texas A&M's. So, a lot better than what everyone thought they would be this year. LSU definitely dangerous team come later in the year. I can't wait until they play Alabama later this season. Next, I want to talk about Miami and Florida, and this kind of goes by my title, is the SEC overrated. This is the second time an ACC team has beat an SEC team the first 2 weeks. And to say this, I don't think so. And the reason why I don't think the SEC is overrated is because both these teams occurred from the SEC East, which is a lot weaker than a lot weaker than the SEC West. They were both on the road. Florida was in Miami, although it seemed like more Florida fans down there in Miami than there were Miami fans. And then when Georgia went to Clemson, playing in Death Valley, that's a tough game. I would say not that the SEC is overrated. I would say the ACC is actually better than people thought. The ACC is actually looking pretty good this year. They've been down for so long, and having lived down in ACC country for 4 years, it's hard to watch that 12 o'clock game when the ACC teams are playing because they're not very good. Even the best teams, they're 12th, 13th, 14th in the country, and they never win big games. But really good statement wins here. Miami looks like may return to at least a really good team. Last year, actually, they ended the year well. They would have had a chance to go to the ACC championship game, but they put that bowl ban on themselves because they want restrictions lessened later from the NCAA when they figure out those violations. But Good win for Miami. Very impressive. Florida needs to get their offense together, but ACC, 2 big wins over the SEC to start this year, getting some claim back there in ACC country. Next, I want to talk about Michigan and Notre Dame, I'm sorry. And this was a phenomenal game on offensive side of the ball, especially for Michigan. Gardner looked fantastic wearing that number 98 jersey. He was throwing the ball all over the field, running all over Notre Dame. And it looks like Notre Dame's defense is not where it was last year. Remember, Manti Te'o graduated, entered the NFL draft. He, was the focal point of their defense. And it clearly shows Notre Dame. They're not as good as they were last year defensively. On the flip side for Notre Dame, Tommy Rees is a good quarterback, but they're not as dynamic as they were with Everett Golson. He was able to punch the ball in the red zone, which they weren't able to do a couple times. Rees turns the ball over more. Notre Dame is a lot less of a threat with Rees a quarterback than Everett Golson. Do I still think Notre Dame's a good team? Yeah. I think Michigan, they home crowd, second primetime game in history at Michigan Stadium. They had all the advantages there. But Notre Dame still, they're a good team. I think they could get at least 7 wins, probably even more than that. But not as good as they were last year, and that's definitely agreeable. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is USC losing to Washington State in a 10-7 thriller. Lane Kiffin's, he's probably gone. I think he's extended his time. I think he needs to get out of USC. They need to rebuild that program, reboot it, get the recruiting back together, and get some good coaching. And, I'm not very big on Lane Kiffin just because everywhere he's been, he's not been successful. He wasn't good in Oakland. He wasn't that great in Tennessee. And he sure as heck not been good at USC. I think he's overrated. Good offensive coordinator, not a very good head coach. And it shows USC probably be irrelevant this year. Thank you guys for watching my college football review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please comment in the comment section on anything you guys want to talk about from college football.
Anything goes, anything goes. You never know what we're gonna show on Anything Goes.